Okay, can you all turn to the first page? Okay, we're gonna sorry, not first, the page 2. Okay, not first page, but we are at 3.1. Okay, write your name, class, and date. Then let's turn to page 2. Okay, I will give you about 1 minute to 2 minutes. Can you sort that 12 expressions on the given to you into linear and non-linear? Okay, let's recap a little bit on what is linear and non-linear expressions. Okay, so you can start to sort them now. Okay, please sort them according to linear and non-linear expressions. Okay, one example of linear, something like that, right? 7 minus 4x. Why is this linear? Because there's only one variable, there's no multiplication of it, it's a single variable expression. Hence, this is considered non-linear, linear. Sorry. Okay. So this, I'm going to start with this example only. Okay, I know some of you might be still doing, but most of you are done. Okay, don't worry, just look up first. Okay, here and explain it. Just hear this part from me. Alright, Sanjay and Eugene has helped us written down what are linear and not, what could be linear or non-linear. Okay, of course the first one here is mine lah, so it's correct lah. Okay, now, of course mine is correct mah, right? Okay, now let's look at the linear ones first. Wow, what is this? Okay, we have, where is this 2 plus 3 come from? Z. Oh, Z plus 3. Okay, sorry. It's Z, okay. So Z plus 3 is linear because there's only one variable there, right? There's no squared or anything. There's no multiplication of terms and so on and so forth. Okay, there's only one term, two terms actually, sorry. There are 2 terms, Z and 3. Okay, but why is this linear? Because there's only one variable. Okay, 3 is a constant. We call it a constant term. Okay, so Z plus 3 is correct. Okay, now 2 minus x over 9. Okay, one way to actually kind of know, okay, this is my kind of like analogy lah to how I deduce whether is it linear or not. I just make it into an equation. Right, I just make it into equation. Then I figure out A is a linear equation. That means it will be a linear expression. Okay, so 2 minus x over 9, there's only one variable. There are constant terms here. You can write this as 2 over 9 minus x over 9. Also can. Okay, this makes it linear as well. Okay, this one is also linear. 3x is also linear. Now what about 4? Now we see on non-linear and linear, they both root 4. Okay, so is it non-linear or linear? Non-linear. Okay, as I said, sometimes to really tell, okay, one trick, because you have learned equations, right? Okay, one trick is to let the expression be equals to y. Is it linear or non-linear? Is it a linear or non-linear equation? What kind of graph is this? On a graph, is it a horizontal or vertical line? It's a horizontal line, right? Is this linear or non-linear? Is a vertical line or horizontal line linear or non-linear? All lines are considered linear, right? So is this a line? This is a line, right? So this is linear, no? Right? Why? Why is this linear? Okay, it's just a constant term. All constant terms, there is no variable, is considered linear. Yes?
But it is given that as just a constant term. There is no other actual variable.
Very good question. Okay, it's just given as a constant term, right? It's not. There's no variables. Why is it still considered linear? Okay, what's the definition of it of being linear? Can somebody read me from the textbook? What's the definition of linear? Is there the definition? I remember there is. Louder. So is this 4 linear or not? Based on the definition, is 4 considered linear expression based on the definition? Do you think 4 is linear based on the definition? Is it a linear expression? Is 4 a linear expression? Don't know. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, don't stress you. Okay. May. What do you think? So based on the definition, okay, a linear expression in one variable x is an algebraic expression that contains only one term in x with or without a constant term. So based on the definition, is 4 a linear or non-linear expression? What do you say? No, just say what you think it is. Linear. Linear? Okay, linear. I personally think okay, I can't really remember whether I'm correct or not. But I personally think it's not linear, but it is also not non-linear. It's neither linear or non-linear. Okay? I purposely drew the graph to show you in terms of equation. Yeah, equation is a linear equation, right? But now we are talking about expressions. 4 is just simply a number. As what Sham said, it's just simply a number or a constant term. Okay? So I would say 4, it's neither linear. In terms of, we are talking about expressions. Yeah? I'm not talking about equations. Okay? It's neither linear or non-linear. Okay? Can? Okay? I hope this got you all thinking about expressions like what is linear or non-linear. Of course, the textbook say it must be in x. Then what about in y? No lah, the variable can be any letter. Okay, as long as it is in one variable, x, y, so on and so forth lah. Okay, x, y, z, t, u, v, anything. Okay, so let's look at the non-linear one. Okay, 4x squared minus y plus 8. Okay, this does not satisfy the linear equations. It is in variable x and y and is x squared. Okay, it must be in all linear expressions must be in something to the power of 1. The power of 1 is just itself, right? X to the power of 1 is just x. Y to the power of 1 is just y. It must be just one variable. In this case, there are two variables, x squared and there's y. So this is not this is non-linear. Okay. What about x times y? Is x times y linear or non-linear? Okay, as long as you multiply them together, multiply two different variables or two variables, this is non-linear as well. Okay, same for x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, I'll come to that later. Okay, this one as well. You see all the variables, they multiply each other. This is also non-linear. And finally, we have this one, same thing. You got x times y. Straight away, you got this. We know that this is non-linear. Okay, all following me so far? Okay, can you all see the difference between linear and non-linear now? And that special number 4 there. Okay, so the 4 is definitely none of it lah. Okay, now in this topic, we're actually going to look more at this kind of non-linear expressions. Okay, there already state lah. This is called quadratic expressions. Why quadratic expressions? Why is it so unique? Okay, quadratic expressions is a certain form of non-linear expressions. Okay, it has only the highest power is to the power of 2. Okay, what do I mean by that? It has a x squared term. Okay, x squared term variable. Okay, I think I'm using it correctly. Variable, x squared term. Okay, so if you look at your notes, a quadratic expression in one variable x. So can this be a quadratic expression? What do you all think? Can this be a quadratic expression? No, because based on what we've written in the textbook and in my notes, it must be in one variable. So it's either it must be all x or all y. Okay, if it's both together, I cannot consider it as a quadratic expression, but I still consider it as a non-linear expression. Okay, so this is quadratic expression in one variable x is in the form okay, this is very important. It's a general form here. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, where a, b, and c are constants, and a can never be 0 or not equals to 0. Okay, so right now quadratic expressions we define it to be in one variable x and in this form a squared, a times x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, where a, b, c are constants and a is not equals to 0. Okay, what happens if a equals to 0? Okay, let me erase the linear one. I don't need the linear one. Okay, what happens for ax squared plus bx plus c, and I have a is equals to 0? What will the quadratic expression become?
bx.
It will simply become bx plus c, right? And is this linear or non-linear? It becomes linear, right?
Yeah.
Hence, that's why the definition has a extra part where it says a, b, c are constants and a is not equals to 0. This is very important because when a equals to 0, it changes the quadratic expression to a linear expression. Okay? Then let's look at what happens if b is equals to 0. Does it change the quadratic expression? Okay? So if b is equals to 0, we have ax squared plus c. Still quadratic or not? Think about it. Yeah, the fan say yes. Chloe, Ho? Quadratic? Still quadratic. Why quadratic? Let Chloe answer. Why quadratic? What, you agreed that it's quadratic. Why quadratic? Okay, can? Okay, I hope you get you thinking lah. Don't worry. I think a bit hard. Okay, now let's look at this. If you based on definition, only a cannot be 0, right? B, that means b can be 0, right? So technically, this is still, as long as there's an x squared term, okay, this is considered quadratic, a quadratic expression. Which brings back to the point where you see there is a x squared plus 1 example. This is non-linear, but at the same time, this is also a quadratic expression as well. Okay? Is there any more I'm missing out? Okay, no, don't have. Okay, so in this case, if a equals to 0, then it becomes bx plus c, a linear equation. Okay, if c equals to 0, we will only have ax squared plus bx. Okay, it's a bit more abstract here, but can you see what I'm doing here? Okay, I'm taking a condition where 1 is 0, so on and so forth. It is still quadratic as long as there is a x squared term. Okay, something additional for you to write down. So you can simply write down examples of the quadratic expressions in one variable. Okay, the last part is just there are only two examples here, which is x squared plus 1 and x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, these are the two quadratic expressions.